I'm honored and privileged to speak to such a group of patriots and citizens. Iwo Jima has made the name of Mahlon Fink unique. I'm a life member of the American Legion, the Veteran of Foreign Wars, the Marine Corps Association, the 5th Marine Division Association, the Disabled Americans Veterans, the Purple Heart Association, and the Berks County Firemen, and the Goslersville Fire Company. Is everybody hearing me clearly? Okay. When I wear my Marine Corps cap and jacket, many people come to me and thank me for my service and for their freedom. If you love your freedom, thank a veteran. I am proud to have received a personal letter from Lieutenant Schreier, the man who led the patrol of Mount Suribachi and raised the 2 American flags. In his letter, Lieutenant Schreier urged me to go into the local schools and share with the students my experiences. He asked me to tell the students about the historic Battle of Iwo Jima so that the 6,800 Marines who died there will not be forgotten. They were America's finest. Freedom is not free. Are you hearing me good? All right. My first statement to the students is I hope you realize what great learning facilities you have today. So drink in all the knowledge you can get, because when you get out in the world, you're going to need it. You won't have mom and dad to bail you out. You're going to have to make it on your own. In the past, I spoke at many schools and veteran ceremonies. At this Benedict Museum many times. I also was honored to speak at the Dwight D. Eisenhower Forum at Gettysburg at their World War II reenactment. What an honor and privilege it was to speak at such hallowed ground close to where Abe Lincoln spoke. Iwo Jima, Sulphur Island. You probably never heard of it. Neither had we until we were told it was our objective. Maybe you saw the movie Sands of Iwo Jima with John Wayne, or more recent Flags of Our Fathers or Letters from Iwo Jima. This reminds me of a poem we studied when I was in school, The Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson, a battle between the British and the Russians. Into the valley of death rode the 600, and half of them were killed or wounded. Where does the Marine Corps find the men that charge the enemy every morning into a hail of deadly gunfire from an unseen enemy for 36 days until he conquers the foe? I will relate to my personal experience and the main purpose for the capture of Iwo Jima. I was blessed to have been born an American and privileged to serve my country as a Marine. I was born in what is now the historic Daniel Boone Homestead in Berks County. I grew up in the Great Depression. December 1st, 1943, in the midst of World War II, I turned 18 years of age. I registered for the draft and volunteered for the Marine Corps. I entered boot camp in Paris Island, South Carolina, and I wondered how in the world I'd ever get into something like this. After 2 months of the most disciplined and stern training, I was at the peak of physical condition. I could run like a deer and I was quick as a cat. I recorded sharpshooter with the M1 rifle. I became a Marine. A 10-day furlough out of boot camp, which would be the only one I would ever get, gave me the opportunity to visit Miss June Bowling. We joined Shillington's Emmanuel Church together and corresponded while I was in boot camp. We reached an understanding that she would wait for me, not realizing that wait would be 26 months. I had 6 months of guard duty at the Richmond Naval Air Station in Homestead, Florida, followed by 2 months of advanced training at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and 2 weeks at Camp Cumberland, California, and finally went overseas to Hilo, Hawaii, where we were attached to the 5th Marine Division. We were housed at Hilo, and the 5th Marine Division was at Camp Tahoe, about 65 miles outside of Hilo. at the base of the volcano Mauna Kea. Unbeknown to the 5th Marine Division, Mauna Kea was to resemble Mount Suribachi. After loading ships for 2 months, we boarded ship New Year's Eve and set sail for Iwo Jima with the 5th Marine Division. We were assigned to capture that island. Iwo Jima had great military importance. It lies halfway between the Japanese mainland and the Mariana Islands of Guam, Saipan, and Tinian, which we captured months earlier. Our B-29 bombers flying out of the Marianas had a 3,000-mile round-trip mission, which taxed the planes to the maximum. Iwo Jima had radar to warn Japan of impending raids to their country. The Japanese also had several fighter planes to harass the B-29s as they flew over. Many of the B-29s that were damaged could not complete the round trip and would crash in the vast Pacific Ocean. Even though submarines were posted en route and Navy PBY seaplanes were ready to pick up survivors, many crews were lost. For the capture of Iwo Jima and their airfields, B-29s would have a safe haven for repairs and would also have an American escort. Excuse me. On February 19, 1945, at 9 a.m., the invasion began. I was transported to the beach 2 hours later. I had just turned 19 and was very gung-ho. It didn't take long with sniper bullets whistling by my ears and sniper bullets and shells falling all around to realize the Japanese were trying to kill me and the fun was over. We were the 31st replacement draft. There was also a 27th replacement draft, about 1,400 troops per draft. Our job was to unload landing craft bringing in supplies and ammunition. We were not trained frontline troops. We were Marines guarding naval bases throughout the United States. We were relieved by combat troops coming home from the Pacific Theater. We landed on Iwo Jima at 11 a.m. the first morning. I don't know why they had working party on the beach where the battle's still raging, but the Admiral doesn't report to PFCs. The first night, Henry Gilbert and I dug a foxhole on the beach. The vibration from the shelling of the island was so great that the sand was constantly sifting into our foxhole, filling it. By morning, we were no longer protected. That morning, 1 Marine from each foxhole was sent out to unload supplies from the ship to the landing craft. The remaining Marine was to improve the foxhole. I stayed on the beach and Henry went out aboard ship. I dug a deep hole filling sandbag that we were given and lined the outside walls with bags. Finding metal planking that was used for roads and airfields for our roof and covered the roof with sandbags. I used our shoulder halves for waterproofing and pelling another foot of sand on top, and we had a bunker. This was our home for 9 days. We were a few hundred yards from Mount Suribachi within range of rifle and machine gun fire. I heard machine gun fire and bullets whistling over my head. Another close call. I'm glad the sniper didn't have the correct windage. That evening when the work detail returned, the foxhole next to us had a backpack laying on top of the sand that was riddled with bullet holes. That night, the Japanese shelled the entire beach. Our bunker withstood the barrage, but we had fatalities and wounded. I spent 12 days on Iwo Jima and came close to losing my life many times. On the 4th day, a Marine patrol raised the American flag on Mount Suribachi. The photo of that flag raising became the most photo of World War II and became a symbol of the Marine Corps ever since. I had the privilege of witnessing that great moment in American history. The American ships offshore blew their whistles, fired their guns, and tough Marines had tears in their eyes as they saw Old Glory flying over the mountain. Until this time, even holding the beachhead seemed to be in question, and we were suffering many casualties. When the capture of Mount Suribachi was so crucial, To our offense, the exposition on the mountain were the eyes of the defense. We were kept busy during the days unloading supplies and ammunition. On the ninth day, when Henry was out aboard ship, I was selected as a replacement to the depleted front line. I didn't see Henry for 13 months. I was naive to the fact that we would all be replacements throughout the 5th Marine Division. Everybody hearing me? Okay. I was replaced into E Company 2nd Battalion, 26th Regiment, 5th Marine Division. We moved onto the front line and the Japanese immediately laid down a mortar barrage. I dove into a small shell crater. After 2 hours in a cramped position, I stuck my head up to see what was going on. A projectile flew by my head, the second one right by my ear. I apparently was a sniper's target. They normally hit us right between the eyes and others escaped from death. The evening of the 10th day, we dug in for the night close to 3 burned Japanese soldiers. The stench of death is a very pungent odor. Burning is a horrible way to die, but the flamethrower was the only way we could reach the enemy in caves, pillboxes, and blockhouses. Without the flamethrower, I questioned whether we could have captured Iwo Jima. I cannot believe the Geneva Conference did outlaw the flamethrower, but perhaps it was not invented at that time. On the 11th day, a Japanese sniper cut down 5 members of our squad. Arms and legs were hanging and men were in severe pain. Bullets kicked sand up 2 inches from my feet. And again I wondered how in the world did I ever get into something like this. I thought of my mother and prayed to God for deliverance. Marines returned fire, but I don't know if they got the sniper. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that a Navy corpsman came out of nowhere and in the line of fire administered first aid. I didn't know the corpsman and never saw him again. I saw bravery on Iwo Jima like you would never believe. Every frontline Marine on Iwo Jima should have received a Bronze Star. Uncommon valor was a common virtue. Someone threw a smoke grenade, and under the smoke cover, 3 of us were able to return to our company and dig in for the night. The northern 2/3 of Iwo Jima was rough-cut retreat. Had features resembling the mountain. The Navy would constantly fire flares over the island at night, so we could detect enemy movement and possible counterattack. We had to be aware of a hand grenade rolling into our foxhole, or screaming Japanese with a fixed bayonet. The sight of this eerie landscape was enough to strike fear into the bravest of men. The next morning, the survivors of our unit charged forth what was the beginning of a 3rd airstrip and entered the gullies and cliffs beyond. A hail of gunfire greeted us. My prayers were answered in a strange way. A mortar round fell 5 feet from my leg, and I received multiple shrapnel wounds in both legs. I still carry shrapnel to this day. Our 4-man fire team was down to 3. We lost one, I don't know where. 2 months later, I heard he was in the Georgia hospital. I told the lieutenant I was hit. He said so was everybody else. Blood flowed from his shoulder. I didn't know his name. The other 2 received minor wounds, and the lieutenant asked if we could move. We said we could. He said, see if you can find the first aid station. I never saw him again. We ran back across the 3rd airfield and more shells were falling. We took cover in the same foxhole we had the night before. 1 hour later the shelling eased, but now my legs stiffened and I couldn't go. The other 2 helped me and we found the first aid station. They treated me and took me to a central hospital, which was a large tent where I would receive more treatment. Later that afternoon, I and other wounded were taken to the beach and a Higgins boat took us to a hospital ship. A replacement lieutenant and a fire team was wiped out in 3 days. I slept very little for the last 2 days. I was afraid if I fell asleep I would never wake up. I didn't shower or shave for 12 days. This did not deter me from immediately crawling into my assigned hammock and sleeping the night as I was hurt and exhausted. I did shower the next morning as we were given toilet articles, and a fellow Marine commented on my bloody legs and 6 wounds. I don't remember, but I must have been given clean clothes. I landed on Iwo Jima with a penny in my pocket because I didn't want to be broke. I wanted to write letters home, but I didn't have 6 cents for an airmail stamp. I wrote 2 V-mail letters that were postage free, one to my fiancée and one to my parents to tell them I was wounded, but I was alright. Later, 3 days left in convoy for Saipan, a trip that took 3 days. On the way, a B-29 crash-landed between the second and third row of the convoy. The destroyer left formation to pick up survivors, but I don't know if there were any. One evening, the Navy piped Boulder Winchell's radio for newscast over the loudspeaker. Some of you might remember Boulder Winchell. Anybody? He would come on the radio, "Attention Mr. and Mrs. America and all ships at sea." In Europe, our army is fighting for miles. On Iwo Jima, our Marines are fighting for inches. Something I'll never forget. We entered an army hospital on Saipan. Naval hospitals that normally treat Marines for food. 2 weeks later, we were transferred to a naval hospital in Pearl Harbor, where I made a full recovery. My wounds were not life-threatening. I asked myself, why was I spared when so many were killed? I felt guilty having survived. My minister said perhaps I was spared to tell the story. I attended church regular and again prayed to God for deliverance. I was in fact saved by President Truman's decision to use the atomic bomb. 200,000 Japanese died in the 2 explosions. But many Japanese and American lives were spared as the atomic bomb caused the Japanese to surrender. I served 7 months in the occupation force in Japan and missed another Christmas before being sent home to my faithful and patient fiancée. We were married 6 months later. We have 2 children, 4 grandchildren, and 12 great-grandchildren, and we have been married over 70 years. I lost Mrs. Fink 6 months ago. I would like to add my evaluation to the Battle of Iwo Jima. General Suribachi knew he was going to lose Iwo Jima, but by killing as many Marines as possible. He hoped the American mothers would revolt and solicit our government to sue for peace. This they did, thus sparing Japan from invasion. Excuse me. The invasion of Japan was already laid. The Army's victory in Europe was over and they were en route to the Pacific Theater. We would have invaded Japan with 6 Marine divisions and 3 armies, the biggest armada ever assembled in world history. The atomic bomb saved millions of lives. If we would have had to invade Japan, we would have had to kill men, women, and children. I question whether we would have won that battle. And our mother said, "Stop killing our sons." Many Americans objected to using the atomic bomb. My last statement to the students: I'm 92 years old. I lived a great life. I've been to the mountain. We World War II vets are fading fast. We must now turn our country over to you. Guard it well. I must thank the United States Navy for transporting me over 30,000 miles in the Pacific Ocean safely. I must thank God, my wife, and the Marine Corps League for raising me up to more than I can be. I would like to add a few more personal comments. 1. I would take $1 million for my Marine Corps experience, and I would take $1 million to do it over again. I would have been very disappointed had I not seen action. I spent 12 days in Iwo Jima and almost lost my life many times. The Japanese could reach any part of the island with pinpoint accuracy. Could be killed at any moment. Forrest Gump and I have one thing in common. We both received $1 million wound and we never seen a nickel of it. We landed at San Diego when we got back to the United States. There were no ceremonies, no parades, no welcome home herald. The Salvation Army was there with 2 glazed donuts. I never passed the Salvation Army, no, a quart of milk. I never passed the Salvation Army pot without making a donation. Tom Brokaw wrote in his book, The World War II Veteran is a member of the greatest generation. I have been told many times that I am one of a kind. They don't make them like you anymore. But I didn't say that, they did. I feel I have done little compared to others. Some survived that whole operation. I can't understand how. General Smith, who commanded the 2nd Marine Division in the invasion of Tarawa, marveled at the exceptional bravery of the Marines. He later remarked, "Every time I see a Marine, I stand in reverence. Every time I see a Marine, I stand in reverence." I will close with a few lines from the Marine Corps hymn. If the Army or the Navy ever looks on heaven's scene, they'll find the streets are guarded by United States Marines. Thank you so much.